Hey, what's up guys? Calum or Calum's Fish Tanks, and in today's video, I'm super excited to be bringing you guys my top 10 favorite beginner plants, so let's get started. Now these are my top 10 favorite beginner plants, not the top 10 easiest plants. These are my top 10 favorite plants for beginners, and just easy beginner plants that anyone can grow that I love because they just look great. But anyways, let's get on to the list. Now before we get started, I do have some honorable mentions. The first one being Starrigoni repens. Now this is a beautiful carpeting plant, and it can really get a nice, lush, dark, a dense carpet if you give it relatively medium light. It's not too picky with light, but it does like a good substrate. I'll put a link up in this top corner to a video of mine all about selecting the right substrate for your planted tank, but the reason it didn't make the top 10 is because it does need a better substrate and may need higher light. Next up on honorable mentions, I also have Water Sprite. Now this is an extremely easy to grow plant, but it can be too easy. This plant gets out of control. It can take over a whole tank, so that's why I kind of said beginners should maybe avoid it, because it is going to need a lot of frequent maintenance, because like I said, it can take over an entire tank. So number 10 is the Amazon Sword. Now this is a great plant. It's got sword-shaped leaves like the name states, and it is very low light and easy to grow, except it does need a lot of fertilizer. So it's a very good gauge for telling if you don't have enough nutrients in your tank. For example, if you don't have enough nitrogen, the leaves will turn yellow, or potassium, the leaves will get holes in them, but it does need a lot of nutrients, so that's why I put it at number 10 on this list. Number 9, Jungle Val. Jungle Val is one of my favorite beginner plants. It grows super long, about 6 feet long, which is crazy, and it is a very easy plant to grow, but it will take a while to get going. It usually takes a couple months before it starts growing, so don't expect growth right away, and do not use Excel with this plant. It will completely kill it. I don't know why Excel just destroys Val, so do not use Excel if you're planning on growing Jungle Val. Next up, at number 8, we have Pearlweed. Pearlweed is a crazy growing plant. It gets super dense and it can get super bushy, so it's great if you want to create a rather higher carpet for a bigger tank, or if you want a stem for the background plant. It is a great plant for beginners. Low light, doesn't need a lot of fertilizer, just a great plant in general. So number 8, Pearlweed. Number 7 is for people who are looking to add a bit of color to their tank, and that is the Dwarf Tiger Lotus. Now this plant can get super nice red leaves, and it is extremely easy to grow. It's such an easy plant, and you can get such a beautiful color out of it. Now the leaves will shoot up to the top, but when they do that, trim them off, I would recommend, because if you don't, all the other ones will shoot up as well to the top of your tank, and then it will shade out all your other plants because the leaves can get massive. So make sure you trim them if they're going for the top of your tank. Number 6 is Dwarf Sage. Now this is an extremely easy grassy plant that will carpet the bottom of your tank. It'll send out runners, which are like little chains where new plants will shoot up and cover the whole foreground of your tank, creating a beautiful jungle. Number 6, Dwarf Sage. Really recommend this plant. Next up is number 4 and 5. I could not decide between the two of them, and it's Ludwigia repens and Rotala rotundifolia. First off, Rotala rotundifolia is a beautiful stem plant that'll get pinkish leaves, and it'll teach you a lot about learning how to trim a really dense bush of plants, and it gets a really, really thick and really beautiful, as well as Ludwigia repens, which is a very dark red plant under good light, and also an awesome stem plant. So that's number 4 and 5. Number 3 is going to be Anubias. Anubias is a super easy plant to grow. You just tie it onto rocks or wood, or just stick the roots in the gravel. Make sure you do not submerge the rhizome, and it'll grow pretty much under any light. Such an easy plant, but the reason I put it at number 3 and not higher is because the leaves can be prone to algae, and you do have to trim off the leaves when they get a lot of algae on them. So number 3, Anubias. Now number 2 was super hard for me to decide, and that is Java Fern. Now I absolutely love Java Fern. There's so many different variations. There's narrow leaf, trident, the regular form, just so many forms of different Java Fern, and they grow the same as Anubias, but I found they're a lot less prone to algae, making them a lot easier to grow. And I find they also grow to the height of your tank as well. So say you have a really tall tank, your Java fern will grow right up to the top usually, in my experience at least. The moment you've all been waiting for, number 1. Now, if you follow my channel, if you don't, please subscribe. I post planted tank content every Tuesday and Thursday, but my number 1 plant is cryptocorns. I love cryptocorns. There's so many different colors and different leaf textures and all this, and they're such an easy plant to grow. All you need is a deep substrate and a bit of fertilizer, and they'll grow like crazy, and they're so beautiful. So many different patterns and all this other stuff like I mentioned. I'm absolutely in love with cryptocorns, but that's my number 1 cryptocorns. Anyways guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to like if you did. But anyways guys, thank you guys for watching. This was Kelm's Fish Tanks. Peace. Oh, and also, cryptocorns do melt. It's my mortal enemy.